Hi, my name is Ann Sermons Gillis, and I am interviewing members and friends of Unity of Charleston. This morning, I'm very happy to have our very own Kathy Maher. Welcome, Kathy.
Thank you, Ann. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that when I first met you and I kept trying to figure out what your name, what is your last name and and you said it's like Bill Maher. And I didn't know how Bill Maher spelled his last name, so that didn't really make that much sense to me. But then I got it. I saw his name, so I was like, oh, I got it now. I understand. All right. So where were you born?
I was born in Brooklyn, New York. My
Oh,
grandparents came over on Ellis Island into New York City and settled in Brooklyn, and that's where my father was born and raised, and so was I. And then we moved from there.
so what lineage were they? What country were they from?
Irish, Ireland. In fact, I have an Irish passport that took me 5 years to get through my grandmother because it's called registry from by foreign birth. But because I could trace back to through all of the paperwork I needed, I have an Irish passport. So if things get tough here, at least I have a place to go.
Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah, I've heard that from other people as well. So I know you live in the Charleston area. What area do you live in?
We live at the end of Johns Island, a place called Seabrook, Seabrook
Okay.
Island, and it's beautiful. We raised our family on Long Island, and so we love the beaches and the ocean, and this provides that, but with this beautiful atmosphere of Charleston, which we fell in love with.
Oh, good. So how long have you been here?
Permanently since 2005. We retired and moved down and never looked back. And a lot of our friends have come down, and we almost want to say, "Stop, stop." We have our whole family established out here, but it's been wonderful to welcome them because it's just a wonderful place to be. And the weather's perfect. The city of Charleston offers so much. So we love it. We love it.
So just the area brought you here. There was not any event.
Well, the event was my husband's a big golfer, and he looked at Hilton Head and he loved Hilton Head and he wanted us to move there. And this is going back, my one son is now 50. This is going back 50 years. I was pregnant with him, and he said, "Wouldn't you love to retire here?" Well, no, I thought I'd die there. So I said, "No, this isn't for me." And then luckily, friends of ours were transferred because he was in the container business to Charleston. And we went down to visit them, and I loved it. I loved the city of Charleston. I loved the area. And I was able to convince him to give up Hilton Head and let's try Charleston. And he went along with it, thank God.
Oh, I love your enthusiasm for this area. That's great. So you mentioned one of your children. You have children, and what ages are your kids?
Yes, I have two sons. My older one is 55 and my younger son is 50. And I have four grandchildren. Two of them are grown, 24 and 22. And then David has a 12 and a 10-year-old. So they keep us on our feet because there's 10 years difference between the youngest of my older ones. And we just don't have that same energy that we had with the older ones. So we try our best to give them as much of the attention and the energy as we can. But it's tricky. It's hard, but they visit a lot, and we go up. They were all in New York, in Garden City on Long Island, where we raised them, and so we go up probably about every 6 weeks. And when Ed was in cancer treatment, we were up there for 2 months at a time, and so that was great, the way to see them. Um, but now we're settled in down here. Ed's diagnosis is good. There's no metastatic disease after incredible work done at Memorial Sloan Kettering and with MUSC. The chemotherapy was down here. And we're just so grateful for all the prayers and all the Reiki and all the affirmative, wonderful work that the pastoral committee at Unity has done. So I want to thank Catherine Lampkin and Patty Newman and all the people that have prayed for him, because I'll tell you, the power of prayer, we saw it firsthand. And so I'm filled with gratitude for that.
And he had pancreatic cancer, right?
Correct. And we every day we thank his gallbladder because he had a gallbladder attack in June. And that's how they saw some suspicious cells. Otherwise, it would be stage four, and it wasn't. Stage three is night and day to stage four, because normally it's a death diagnosis.
Right.
And now with stage three, he was able to have 6 months of chemo and five high dose ablation radiation. And the last report 2 months ago was no metastatic disease. So the tumor is basically scar tissue. and we go again in September, which would be 6 months. And that's when they said it should be totally obliterated. So if not, we're very blessed also because there is this new pancreatic drug if it does become metastasized. So yeah, the gratitude is boundless on our part.
Yes, I can imagine. I
Yeah.
can. Well, so you said you moved down here when you retired. What did you do when you were not retired?
I was an educator. I taught at the high school level. It was a course called, used to be the old home economics curriculum. It was
Uh-huh.
an elective, and I was there for 30 years. And then the last 10 years of my career was the work that I loved the most, actually. I loved teaching, but I also loved the healing work that came out of what my next position was, which was I was president of our teachers union of 344 teachers in our school district, and I was president for 10 years. And I love that work because I saw some behaviors of teachers that were really destructive to children, and they would bring all their unresolved issues to the classroom. And I would have to defend them, and I would. And then we'd send them to anger management, which did nothing because they never got to the root of the problems. And that led me to my career after retirement. I retired in '04, and I went to a 4-year healing school, Barbara Brennan School of Healing,
Yeah.
and I did energy healing there. And then I went into family constellation work, which both of those areas are my passion now. And I'm just grateful again for having the opportunity to be in that position of a union person protecting your clients basically, but really going beneath that to change the outcome of what was happening because nothing would change. They'd go for 6 weeks of anger management, go back into the classroom, and nothing would change. And so that led me to the career that I love in retirement, which is basically energy healing and family constellation work.
Oh, nice. Well, having been started out in college as a home ec major, I'm just wondering, and I changed, I got a master's in counseling, but I'm just wondering what do they call it now instead of home economics?
It's called family and consumer science. So it's
Oh,
basically,
well.
yeah, because it basically is teaching things that at home parents in the 50s and 60s taught, like doing the laundry, taking care of yourself, sewing on buttons, things, money management, cooking. And so I still have students now that because when we go back to where we raised our kids to see our grandchildren playing lacrosse or whatever, people will come up to me and say, Mrs. Maher, I still use that chicken divan recipe. And it makes me laugh. They still call me Mrs. Marr. I'm in my 80s and they're in their 50s, and it's not Kathy, it's Mrs. Marr.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. Well, we're going to move, more from the secular, or maybe there was some spirituality involved in your work as well, to your spiritual search. Can you tell us a little about your spiritual search, where it began and what,
Sure.
you know?
Yeah, I was raised Catholic. I have an older sister who's a Catholic nun, and my father was the one that got us to go to the first Fridays and the first Saturdays. And I went to Catholic education all through college, and so I was so indoctrinated I didn't even realize it. And then when I was 58 years old, I went to the Barbara Brennan School, and I realized, oh my God, we were actually born with original goodness. I never heard that word. And so my spiritual journey probably began in terms of healing and knowing there's a higher power back probably in the 80s when I took a course in pranic healing. And then I realized what is all this energy? What is the other realms that I never even had any understanding of? And so when I went to the Barbara Brennan School and realized we don't need to suffer and there's no sin and blah, blah, blah. Um, it changed me. And so I remember saying, I can't do this. I can't do this any longer being a Catholic. And my parents were both deceased. So I didn't feel, they would have judgment about it. Um, but that's when it would start. And so when we moved to Seabrook, I met a woman, Lee Hurd, who's now 91. She's one of the early people at Unity. And she brought me to Unity. And I walked in and I said, I felt just like I did when I was at school with Brennan. And I said, oh my God, I'm home. I'm home. And so 2 years later, I joined, I became a member. And then when I was 70, I was part of the the croning ceremony, and Vivian Worley was part of it with me. God rest her soul. And so I've been with Unity since 2005, basically. And I haven't been able to. Lee has stopped going because she can't drive, and then with COVID and everything, I had stopped going, and then with Ed's illness. But I watch on TV, and now I've been able to come back, and I just love it. I loved Ed when he was there. I loved the female Lynn when she was there, and Scotty, and now our new Reverend Richard. So it's just an incredible place. So I would say my journey started after I retired in terms of authenticity, not just the indoctrination. The Catholic Church taught me to love Jesus, gave me all the ceremony attached to spirituality, but I just couldn't take the patriarchy. And so I left. I left.
Well, so going through all of this and opening up and finding different dimensions, how has that left you with the philosophy? What is your philosophy now?
I think the one the big understanding I've gotten is that we're all one, that there's no separation. And once you have an experience, an actual experience that there is no separation, it's very easy to live and believe that. I think the majority of people that don't have that awareness don't see the oneness inside beneath all of our personalities and so on. And so I'd say my main way of living is to have an attitude of gratitude, that I'm so grateful every morning and night. I'm grateful for everything. And I've had that, but it's been enhanced because of the circumstances that we would judge as terrible with disease, et cetera. I don't look at it that way, because this awful diagnosis that Ed got was not awful. There's so much beauty in everything if you don't judge it. So guess my philosophy is just suspend judgment and just see, instead of saying, why did this happen to me, why did it happen for me? And that's the way I live my life. Just live and let live, and trust that all is well. And we were challenged with that, but I truly believe it and I live it.
Yes, I can feel it when you're speaking. It's like I want to just drink in the divine. You're just oozing this wonderful energy. So did along the way or even now, were there any favorite books that helped you move along, or do you have something now?
Yeah, I think my favorite books, first of all, Pema Chodron, Eckhart Tolle, all of the spiritual writers I particularly love. Now I've segued into more of the nature spirits. I'm really, really connected to nature. I think that's my next whatever. I'm not sure what, but my favorite book right now is Encounters with Nature Spirits, and it's about Findhorn, and it's about a man who died in the 70s, but he actually saw Pan, the nature god. He just, I just love thinking about fairies and gnomes and all that stuff that's out there that Unity, accepts.
That's wonderful, and I have a similar interest as well. So, do you have any particular hobbies or passions that you follow?
Yeah, I love gardening. Gardening really grounds me, connects me to the divine, especially the Mother Earth. I love gardening. I love well, my passion is my healing work. Truly, it's so transformative for people that I just love being a vehicle for that to happen, because I don't do anything. They're ready for whatever their next step is. But I love gardening. I love being in the outdoors, hiking, bike riding. Um, in spite of all the years I had to cook, I do enjoy cooking instead of just teaching it. um, and I read, or I don't read because I don't sit. I'm real type A, so I use audio books. So whenever I'm walking or driving, I use audio, and I love that. And I don't really have favorite authors. I have favorite topics. And if I want something light, I'll read my husband's David Baldacci books. But other than that, I guess my passion is just for life, to just soak in every day and be grateful for what comes your way, no matter what it is.
Oh, I think you may have sort of answered the next question, and that is, do you participate in any spiritual practices?
Yeah, I do meditate. I'm also in a monthly group with Chris Franks and Val. Um, Val Brown, and two other women that it's a wonderful intensive for 3 hours every month, and we're on Facebook. And we go into the Akashic records, so I'm very in tuned with that. As I said, I do meditation. I do affirmative prayer each morning, and I do it as the sun rises, because where we're situated, I can see the sunrise, and that's really a practice for me every day.
Oh, wow. That's neat. Well, I want to go back to something that you said before, and you were talking about work, the healing work. Do you have a practice where you people
Yes.
come to you and
Correct. I have a practice where I incorporate the Brennan work, which was energy healing with hands-on, with the family constellation work, which basically helps people untangle the entanglements that they have with the unresolved issues of their ancestors. Because our ancestors want us to be whole. They don't want us to carry what they didn't finish with. And so they're very available to us. And I've been gifted with that ability to contact and connect with the ancestors of whoever is here. And through the family constellation modality, um, it's just incredible to see and feel that people they actually and when you do it with a group, I do it with a group where people would represent your father or your mother, and words will come out of their mouths that the father would have said and that resonate with the client. So it's a very powerful healing modality. I've done it. Chris Franks asked me to come to the Tuesday practitioner night, and so I've done it there several times with a group. And to me, the group work is really even more powerful than the one-on-one work, which I do in my home on Seabrook.
nice, nice. Well, thank you so much for being here today. And is there anything that you would like to say in closing? Any advice, any thoughts?
No, just that I'm so grateful Unity is alive and thriving and doing so well. And I thank you, Anne, for the Earth Care Committee, because it's near and dear to my heart. And to have such energy there is due to you and all the other members. So thank you for interviewing me and being there.
Oh, you're welcome. And we want to thank you for picking up all the empty toilet paper rolls and paper towel rolls and taking them over to the animal shelter. So thank you for doing that so much. And I'll see you in church.
Very good. Thank you.